So this is a story that happened to my aunt my aunt's best friend a few years ago, who was living in Salt Lake, but she had grown up in Ogden and had an invitation to go visit some friends one night. So after a night of visiting a bunch of her friends in Ogden, she finally realized what time it is, because you can get a little carried away visiting with friends, and they had talked for hours. Realized it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And so she called her husband and told him, "Hey, I'm sorry, I got carried away visiting, but I'm on my way home now. I should be back home in about 45 minutes. So no problem, she went out to her car, and as she started her car, she realized there was a car behind her that turned on his lights just as she was getting ready to go leave in her car. She didn't think anything of it. People have the right to come and go as they please, don't they? So she started driving. She pulled away from the curb, and the car behind her also pulled away from the curb. No big deal. She started driving out got on the on-ramp to go get on the freeway. So the car behind her. Still not too weird. If you have somewhere to go, you're probably going to have to get on the freeway. As she started driving home, the car behind her, adjusted her mirror, seemed awfully close. And especially, she started realizing there were no other cars on the road, but he was following really close behind her. So she started to think, oh, I'm sure there's nothing to this. So maybe if I just slow down a little, he'll go right past me. So she started to slow down. And as she did, the car behind her slowed down too, and it didn't pass her. Although there were no other cars on the road at the time, and he easily could have just gone around, which started making her think, maybe he must be following me. I think he's following me. Well, so then she decided, I'm going to go really fast. And she started speeding, and the car behind her was speeding too. And he just stayed right with her as she went. He was right on her tail the whole time. And every once in a while, he would flash his brights at her. By this time, she started getting really scared, and her heart was pounding. And she just sped all the way through. She took her exit once she got to Salt Lake. The car behind her took the exit too. She kept speeding. As she got into Salt Lake, she sped right past all of the stop signs, through the stoplights, and the car behind her did too. So as she pulled into her driveway, she sped into her driveway, and she laid on the horn. She got out of her car and ran out just as her husband came out of the house too. And he ran up and she told him, this car behind me has followed me all the way from Ogden. And just at that time, the guy got out of the car that had followed her from Ogden. Her husband went up to him and he grabbed him and he's like, what do you think you're doing? The guy's like, hey, dude, I didn't do anything wrong. As I went to go to work tonight, I got in my car and I turned on my lights. And just as I did that, I saw in your wife's car a man's head bob down in the back seat. And so I thought, that probably isn't right. There's something fishy about this. So I decided to follow her. And as I followed her, every once in a while, I would see the head bob back up. And so I flashed my brights and it would go back down. And then when we got here, I just wanted to make sure she got here safely. The husband, all of a sudden, was a little bit afraid, and he went and he opened the car door, the back seat to stop it. He opened it up, and there